They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experienced and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common biaye says the as in takrenu assume the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konkonsa, we the real in common getting.
Yo, at here for your mamuna jo. Baby, I move here, say I'm a pie, mamma watching. Say you answer, I am mamma. And then I would give you so kubia, your person at the Bramo. We are sure some moon my ready. More number yet 240-280-2633 for messages. And I'm a texting so 510-9310946. Yeah, well, and the pastor kubia. And then accommodate somewhere, a cost of your video. Professor Becca, a quiet first way, 3 up more. A bit me, a boy, and yet me, a boy, a baby who buy. And you will be to say, Dr. Kofi Amoh-Mensah, a brantia, Ghana near brantia, about US Abaya medicine. Now, this young who said, say, up from a day, entering me, and then up with him. So within the shortest possible time, we're going to meet Dr. Kofi Amoh-Mensah, who will present the subject on physical activities or exercise related to diseases. So over here, I'm going to hand it over to him. And hopefully, if you have any question, please call the 240-280-2633. Or you can text it 510-9310946. So, Doctor, this platform is for you. Maybe if you have any question, I can ask you later after you finish your presentation. So, over to you. I think we are still waiting on him. Maybe the line is causing some troubles over there. But meanwhile, we are waiting till he come into the stream. Then he will start with his presentation. Studio director, can you give us music as we're waiting for him? Dr. Oz, can you give us music as we are waiting? Ade a ebe di hujuma no aye exercise ho asem. Ene no obia ba bia wo bia no. Exercise do a ebe boa ma ba hu kwan ya so be boy ya de bi mu ban no. Bo moden na tunu wa yi fato. Se won tinti wo wi a sign ni nipa fufuro bi nhye. Wo a wona oba share nso so nipa fufuro bi nhye. Do na mo share no. Ebe bo mo mo exercise hu fa so pa ewo enro bebre ba ya num no ene edi out was me haye me ya mi tie me ya nhwe me ya no so utimi exercise bebre ya That name be bebre on ma empo ntimi nya yare ma. Yemu aya ne taye duro say. So yes sasa anya dia owo beta ye duro. Eni nyina ho na Dr. Amoh-Mensah pese o de brain. Nti ba bia wo bia no. So wo de wuntimi elfra obetima taxi. The tax number no ene ye phone a obetimi dia free nyina no. Ena me be bobodin a kire. Taxi 240 280 2633 and what the frame. Now taxi 510 9310946. And now the bay text my trouble to you. And you know, but be how be no the bra. Your heart is your word, protect it no. Your message be at the Mawaha. You should train doctor, I'm so about and I'm saying a video no I need a crack. And you know, you just say, you've been on the person, you just meet me after whom you're crossing.
Think about the importance of physical exercise. Exercise. Exercise, and as is very, very important to all of us because it is one of the best ways that you can increase your lifespan. The reason why I'm talking about that is, Abraya will say, we always like to look at vital statistics. America say, for example, when we look at the life expectancy in America, for example, the average male will live to be around 75.1 years. A master will live on average maybe 80.5 years. So the question is, how do you get to live a productive and a quality life? And that takes a lot on your part. So here's where physical activity is very important. When you look at what we all do, we have so much short-term and we have long-term benefits for people that actively exercise. We'll talk briefly about the immediate and then the long-term effect, and then we'll talk about how can you as a person, how can you also prolong your life. So when you talk about physical exercise, according to the Center for Disease Control, they recommend that on average you should spend about 150 minutes, of what we call moderate intensity aerobic activity, at least for 30 minutes for 5 days a week. That is important to maintain your weight. When we talk about weight management, for example, now we ask ourselves and say, how do you, maintain your weight? You have to make sure that you put in the time. It's important because for you to maintain your weight, you have to think about the importance of calories. Calories, in other words, are basically, what you put in and what you actually expend. If whatever you eat and whatever you exercise is the same, your weight will stay the same. But I could see ourselves in the sense to say, if you want to think about losing weight, so you have to make sure that you do more physical activity. But let's talk about first the benefit of exercise. We have the short term and then we have the long term benefits. Some of the short term benefits, is that it helps you with better sleep. Exercise so with decreasing your blood pressure. It also helps to make sure that it gives you a stronger immune system to fight a lot of infections. Okay, when you also look at the long-term benefits of exercise, how does it help you cognitively? How you think? See how we see Junie. So, a lot of exercise, they are very, very sharp. It helps them to make good decisions. It helps you with your executive thinking. If you look at your brain, for example, the front part of your brain is called the frontal lobe, which is what helps you to make good decisions, how to plan, how to make good decisions for your family and also things that are important to you. People that actually do exercise, have been shown to be quicker. It also helps to decreases the incidence of Alzheimer's disease, which is a neurodegenerative disease, which can basically cause people to lose their memory. Indeed, they have also found out to say people that also regularly exercise, they found out that they have decreased risk also of cardiovascular diseases, such as heart attack and also strokes. And interestingly, so regular exercise, so they have found out it also helps with cancer preventions. There are a couple of cancers that regular exercise has been shown to actually decreases these cancer. Number one, bladder cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, lung cancer, and also stomach cancer. Interestingly, so as we also get older, we are finding out, we have what we call, bone thinning. When bones not help you to walk, it starts getting weaker. So when you do exercise now, it helps to increase your muscle mass and also helps to give you bone strength. This bone strength, is important to make sure that you don't get osteoporosis and also you don't have hip fractures, which is something that we'll talk about. Okay, so going forward, when we think about exercise now, we have talked about it helps with your cognition. Whenever you can spend about 5 days a week, 30 minutes, where you're basically exercising, one of the things that we are seeing is that people that exercise, is helping not just in cry and not simply for, it's helping everyone. They actually did a study and they found out to say children that are around the age of 6 to 13, those that actually spend time exercising, they did better on the academic tests. They actually scored better compared to their counterparts. They also find out to say for Mpenifo specifically, exercise, they are seeing a couple of things. They are also doing better on their neuropsychological tests, such as which involve processing of memory, processing speed, and also executive function, which is something that, as you get older, the ability to make good decisions, is really directly correlated also with people that put in the time to exercise. You see, when you talk about exercise now, it's important because when you think about exercise now, we stop for 1 second and ask ourselves, how does exercise help us? the moment you start exercising, it does actually three things. The first thing is that, whenever you start exercising, you increase blood flow to your brain, blood flow also to your heart and also to your extremities. So what I have here in America, for example, two of the most leading causes of death, that we're seeing is, cardiac or myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, and also strokes. And if you look at these two diseases, for example, when someone has a heart attack, they are not having a lot of blood flow to, their coronary arteries. And after they have a big blockage to that, certain part of vessel. Same thing, if you don't have blood flow also to your brain, it's also called brain attack, and I say ischemic or hemorrhagic stroke. So the whole idea is that, when you exercise now, it increases blood flow to your extremities. It increases blood flow to your brain. And I say, to help you make good decisions. Now, one of the things so I want you to be aware of is as you get older, so to me exercise, so your chances of you having a fracture now is actually less compared to other people. You guys a hip fracture, yeah. Say, unantia no was slip on something, and I say, what's all I do? Unantia no matia. What if not to break your bone? Sometimes, usually is the beginning of a lot of people's, decline physically. And in America, for example, people that are requiring hip fracture, the government, or I should say, the economy is usually spending about $5.9 billion, to basically cover for patients that are basically having these surgeries. And so the more you can actually spend time to exercise, you're doing a couple of things. One, you are decreasing your risk of all-time mortality. They did a study according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. I'm finding out say, put in the time now, exercise, have about 33%, less risk of having, of dying compared to the person on exercise. So the take-home points, for all of us, they say, spend time exercising. One of the benefits, so the benefit will continue to improve. Another point I didn't talk about earlier, I know, the concept of depression. I'm finding out to say, almost spending time exercising, more risk of getting depression, so you're very, very less. Now, they also did find out to say, the idea is that you spend the time exercising, it helps you, to sleep. It helps you with your cognitive function, like we talked about, and it helps you with also having decreased anxiety. Anxiety is something that, as we get older, it becomes more and more prominent, especially among Ghana for any America. Into spending the time to exercise, also makes you to feel better. A lot of the problem that we have, sometimes, you need both exercise and medication to really treat a lot of the symptoms. You can't just use one or the other, but you need a different or modality to basically help you. Into going forward, one of the things that I can really, recommend to everyone is say, we have to put in the time. And I'm saying this because, at my work, where I work as a, internal medicine doctor, when patients come to me now, what am I seeing? Sometimes, people are coming in with high blood pressures. Some of them are coming, with morbid obesity, almost so. As a result of these risk factors, by the time they have either they're coming in with difficulty talking or difficulty speaking because they have had the stroke. So the importance of prevention means that prevention is always better than cure. If we can spend the time, to really exercise now, one, you get to really, avoid unnecessary, bills, and two, you get to basically have a better quality of life. So in short, that's what I'm basically going to, summarize and say. The time you put in right now, will help you to also live a better life. So when it comes to exercises, so there are different kind of exercises that we can recommend. For the start, you can start with regular walking, brisk walking, where you basically, can walk slowly up and down for 30 minutes, at least for 5 times a day, has also been shown to help. Different type of exercises, so what we call, strength resistance, or basically strength building, where we have something called dumbbells. Some people may not be able to afford dumbbells. You can do push-ups, sit-ups. All these are different types of exercises that you can also use. And then sometimes, not everyone will be able to go to a gym because they may not be able to have access to a gym. But everyone can walk, everyone can run. But before you start any exercise regimen, you have to ask yourself, say, and you say, which I say, now now, which I say, you have to make sure you're stretching. You have to also make sure, say, you're taking the proper precautions, because you want to do it in slow increments. Now, say, if you take 2 average people, you take an athlete, for example, who basically spends time exercising. If that athlete, and a regular person, have, for example, a difficulty or a medical condition, the athlete, in most of these cases, is more likely to survive the problem, because what? They have conditioned their body for the stress now the disease can basically have upon them. So going forward, I think that it is so important if we want to live to be like, for men, if you want to be 75 or above, or ladies, if you want to be 80 or above now, it's so important that you have to put in the time. Yes, we should exercise as CBR, but just remember, say, whatever you put in is whatever you get. The time you put into exercise, that same time you're going to reap the benefits. Going forward, I will really, encourage everyone, say, if you don't have any exercise regimen, you just stop and ask yourself for a second, what is important to you? If your life is important to you now, then you want to make sure that you make, in whatever time you have, put some exercise regimen in your schedule, because, whatever you do with your life, your exercise, is going to, 1, help you to stay fit. 2, is going to help you to stay healthy. And 3, is going to help you to fight off a lot of diseases that we talked about. And with that, I think I'll stop here, and then Dr. Opoku Agyeman, if you have any questions, you can basically start. Hey, Pastor Opoku Agyeman, I can't hear you. Sorry, the voice is not coming.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all that you have given to us this evening. I am going to ask some few questions that probably our audience or spectators may be likely to ask. And I hope you're going to give us a precise and don't give us big answers so that it will frustrate us. Okay. The first question is, what is the best time to start exercising?
So where or when?
What is the best time to start exercising?
Well, the best time to exercise for most people, I'll probably say it will be in the morning. But the reason I'm saying that is, when you wake up in the morning, you usually have more energy to really start off the day because you've had a good night rest. So the best time will probably be in the morning because, for Ghana, for example, say, in the mornings, if you didn't shut up that much, so you are able to actually do more. Same thing over here. If you can start in the morning, the morning is better because 1, you have more you have had a chance to get rest, and also too, you're just starting the day, so you're more fresh, you have more energy.
I think the second thing maybe somebody is also trying to ask you, it says, for instance, some people say that if you are going for any exercise, you probably have to eat something before you go. How do you recommend that?
Well, I think it's that before you start exercising, it depends on how long you're going to be exercising. Because one of the things we have to remember is that, when you start exercising, you're basically using calories. It's good to at least have a quick snack. You can make sure, but the most important thing is that start off by drinking some water. It's very, very important. Drink some water, and also, you can drink some snack. You can eat some people just like a snack bar. Some people may like a quick cereal with some milk. The whole idea is that it's good to make sure that you stay hydrated, because when you start exercising now, for example, you're going to start sweating, and when you sweat now, you're going to be losing a lot of electrolytes. This is where you get sodium, potassium loss. So it's better to say, you start off with drinking water too. You have a little bit snack, and then you make sure that you stretch before you start. Because once stretching, you're going to have a muscle cramp. And if you have a muscle cramp, now to mean your exercise to be at.
Okay. Answer, you were mentioning about lifespan for men and lifespan for women.
Yes.
And then I think that you related it to exercising. Now you say a man more lifespans than men.
Yes.
Does it mean that a man almost exercise more than men? And I said, men, there's something wrong with them. Maybe that is why they die early.
Well, I think it's that generally, we have found out that a man usually live 5 to 6 years more than men, and the reason is that there are many, many different reasons. One of the reasons is that a man usually say how they are willing to seek help early, and a lot of the diseases that we usually see is that most of the time, for example, if you take cancer, for example. If someone is diagnosed with cancer, for example, the earlier they see or diagnose it, if it's localized, and I say, one specific place, put me a surgery, not taking care of the problem. But if, for example, you wait till it's too late now, and it has, we use the term as metastasized, into all the different parts of your body now, then we are surgery to cry into me, said I'm wow. And another thing is a man so finding mind so mumu compared to Mema. And Mema may probably, tell you what's going on. And Mema so they may keep the problem in. And that may lead to high blood pressure, which can cause a stroke. And Mema be so don't like to go to the hospital. You have incidents of men having sudden cardiac, death because more problem they wouldn't go to the hospital because almost say baby and perceive jojo. As a result, they keep the problem in. And the problem is that when your body tells you something now, you have to listen to your body. And I am more prone to listen to the body, and then men are not. I'm show
Question is, what would you recommend duration of each regimen of exercise or number of times per week?
Well, according to the Center for Disease Control, they recommend at least 30 minutes. That 30 minutes, you can do that at least 5 days a week. That's what CDC is recommending. That will give you about 150 minutes of exercise a week. That has been shown to basically keep and maintain your weight. You can also mix up the exercise. One day you can do aerobic exercise where you can do a little bit fast walking. The next day with my change, and basically you can actually just try to do weight training where you're trying to work on your muscle masses. Because the whole idea is that your muscle have to stay tuned. The heart itself is a muscle. It is one of the muscles that you have to, so you can do, aerobic exercise and then the muscle training, and then you can do also weight balancing or resistance, where, some, this is where people are more gym, they may be able to use those like tight ropes where they basically work on the resistance training to basically help build up their muscles. But the most important thing is that, exercise now, you want to be able to do an exercise to the point that with time, you can see yourself sweating. Whenever you get to the point where you're sweating, that's when you know that you're actually.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Somebody's on the line to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Hello, Doctor. My question is there. Me a housewife, my mommy and Sankra. Na me up and down. Because it's all moved down from an park with the do I still need exercise after this hectic in and chronic me from morning and stop me that's here exercise 30 minutes exercise now because I'm nice from an park with the
Okay, so what you're doing is that because you're moving up and down, it's a form of exercise, first of all. For the first part in there, you're basically getting a workout regimen because we'll go up and down. Now, the interesting thing is if you have a chance, you can find a way to basically see how much steps you're having in a day. One of the easiest things you can either do, sometimes a cell phone, for example, you can get this program, Run Keeper, and Access Strava, any of those programs. Run Keeper is very, very easy. It can tell you how much steps you're having in a day. I don't know, will let you know. Sometimes you're just walking up and down. Before you know it, you would have probably, had maybe 3 or 4 miles. Good, so you're staying up and down. So that's the first step. However, during the weekends, when the husband is also available, you can ask the husband to also, look over the kids. So you can basically walk outside where you can get some fresh air also. And I said the whole family, if possible, now can go out where you can basically, get some fresh air. It's good to do the, inside the house, but when you get a chance in the weekends and when things slow down, so it will be good for the whole family to go out and continue to exercise outdoors.
Okay. Thank you, Mommy, for asking that question. Look, there's one question that I need to ask you.
Yes.
You mentioned about blood flow.
Yes.
And then you said that exercise increases blood flow. I have a hypertension, and I know that hypertension is classified as blood pressure. So if I continue doing exercise, is it not going to influence my blood pressure to be higher?
Well, that is a good question. When you actually start exercising, what I actually, with time, to answer your question, it will not necessarily increase your blood pressure because whenever you start exercising regularly, what happens is that, you have you decrease what we call the vascular resistance, because blood pressure goes up because when your arterioles become very resistant. When you're young now, it's like an elastic, and with the elastic span, when you're young now, it's easy to basically open up and close. But it's very very tight, so it's difficult to basically stretch. But what they have seen is that people that have been exercising on a regular basis, one time no job, on a regular basis now, your body will also adapt to the changes because your body, you have these receptors called baroreceptors that are basically adapting to all the changes that you make. In short, which I saw exercise now will continue on a regular basis now. Your blood pressure is actually going to go down a little bit, but it doesn't mean that you should stop taking your blood pressure medications. You should continue to check it every single day. Maybe while you're doing exercise, it may go up just a little bit, but after you stop, and overall, you're going to see it's going to go back down.
A lady just asked me a question. He just closer to me here, so I'm just going to pose that question before you. He said he has a numbness of his lower left calf, and can exercise help to improve his numbness?
Oh, so they have numbness in their lower calf, both bilateral, and I said one side.
One side, the left, I think the left leg.
Okay. Yeah. So if they're having, the term they use is called claudication, or they call it intermittent claudication, meaning that sometimes who have numbness in their calf, the question is that exercise can help, but you have to ask yourself, why is it still there? Maybe there's a why. Your body will always tell you something is going on. So if it's something that is acute and you're having the numbness now, there are different, reasons to explain that. And that's why they need to see their doctor first. Because one of the things that can cause numbness, could be what they call peripheral vascular disease. When you start having, or arteries, or legs, when they start getting narrowing because they're not getting blood now, you can have that sensation. That's one. Two, so we are having signs of undiagnosed diabetes as well. They can also have a kind of peripheral neuropathy, where you start having numbness, tingling sensation. But if that numbness, for whatever reason, should change to a pain, you always also worry about something called deep venous thrombosis, which is like a blood clot in the legs. Indeed, whenever you start having these numbness that are not going away, that's time you have to see your doctor and let them go through the process and figure out, is it from diabetes? Is it from circulation? Or is it from, blood clots? So indeed, whenever you see this now, it's good to basically, call your doctor and try to figure it out.
Thank you, Doctor. That's a good answer to me. But one interesting thing that actually fascinated me when you were telling us was this. You said that exercise increases, it shapes your cognitive, and then it helps you to perform well when you're executing something. And again, it decreases Alzheimer's. But in this country, we have a lot of Alzheimer's people here, and I think most of them are military people who have been exercising a long time. Why do you have that kind of Alzheimer's too much in this place?
Well, I think when we think about Alzheimer's, for example, because a neurocognitive or neurodegenerative disease, most of the time, you have also the genetic component. A lot of the diseases now, I get to know. One is something that it could be in the genes. Before you were even born, the gene basically is there. The gene, with time, will be turned on or turned off based on the environmental factors. So, indeed, a lot of us may have the gene, but the gene will just be silent, or your friend said dormant, meaning that it's not expressed because of the environmental factors. So I have here, a lot of us in this country, whether we like it or not, pre-COVID time, we are all busy to the point to say, not a lot of people will be able to exercise because of job constraints. Most people who take care, for example, at 9 to 5, people have to be at work, at 9, and they have to be back at 5. At 9, most of the time, it's still dark, and by the time you come back in the winter, 5 p.m. it's still very dark. So people don't really have that time to really exercise. But during COVID, if you really look at something interesting happened, people actually were able to, stop everything that we were doing. So people all of a sudden had more time. So if you notice that, you saw more people actually going out to exercise during the COVID period, because that whole monotonous, 9 to 5 schedule, it basically stopped, at least temporarily. Indeed. To answer your question, we see more Alzheimer's because, one, as a general in this population in America, most people are really busy that they're not exercising. And answer two, they have so much options, devices, phone. So if you go anywhere, for example, if you're in a bus, if you're driving, people are always looking at their phones, or people spend their extra time getting entertained instead of them training their body. That's one of the problems. We have to shift that mindset. If someone has an extra timer, half the people may either use that time to watch Netflix, they may watch Amazon or something. The other half will be on their phones. Maybe some of them will go out and exercise, but it's not that common because most of us you're so tired from work. You say you just want to relax. But we are finding out that those that are actually putting the time to exercise are the ones that are living longer.
Yeah, let me take us to Ghana. You know more that Ghana, the lifespan is more short. Right now, that is even improving. But you see that Ghanaians, we walk a lot. We can walk all the carry something throughout the market, walk from place to farm and all kinds of. Why is it that we do all this exercise, but we still have our lifespan is very short?
Well, I think our lifespan, the lifespan in Ghana is shorter because of various reasons. One, we are doing the exercise, which is very, very good. I mean, if you look at the average, body mass index of a Ghanaian in Ghana than a Ghanaian in America, you can look at the abdominal girth. You can see that the typical Ghanaian, the stomach, girth, will be much, much smaller than the one in America. So when it comes to Ghana, you're walking. But another thing you also should realize is to say, look at the pollution also in Ghana, for example. There are a lot of diseases, such as lung diseases, asthma. If you look in Futuro now, Ghana, so look at your road. We have Ghana roads now. It's not really paved except for the main highways, and then they are paved. So sometimes if diseases be environmental triggers, for example, in Ghana, for example, say we usually burn a lot of we may use coal, all these fumes, are basically with time, they have their effects on the lungs. They have an effect, on the whole body. In our Ghana system, so what I have. We don't usually have what we call early preventions. For example, or America, for example, whenever you turn 50, it is recommended, say, every man and woman to have a colonoscopy to make sure, say, you don't have colonic polyps, because these little polyps, with time, will actually, get bigger to the point that the polyps can become cancerous, and if you don't take care of it now, that polyp can basically metastasize. For example, Ghana, you can see that the government is doing their part, but as a whole, I think that we have to be able to put more money into our infrastructure, because we don't have a lot of early detection. For example, I say we have, we do certain age, because you have to do a PSA to make sure that you don't have prostate cancer. We have a lot of preventive, medicine that we do in America that we don't really have in Ghana. So as a result, you have a lot of Ghanaians dying from a heart attack, dying from stroke, because they may not even know that they have blood pressure. And blood pressure or hypertension is called the silent killer. And if you talk to everyone listening to this podcast, we all know someone this year that died suddenly, in Ghana, either from a heart attack, or from a stroke, or from an aortic dissection. We don't really know because we didn't really check it out. Ghana, for example, we to look at that. Oh, sorry, so I think as a people, we all have to do a part to see that we have to help also the Ghana healthcare system. It all starts with all of us, not just one person. And we can, so I don't want to get political here, but I think we don't have the detection, and we don't have the preventative measures, and as a result, we're seeing the consequences.
Yeah, Doc. We are still on Ghana. I just want to say much about it. My question is more reflexive of Ghana, because most of the time, we see exercise as one of the important things that can help us to prevent a lot of diseases. Yeah. My point is, you have explained this, but I'm not convinced about it, because they walk a lot. Ghanaians, an average person can walk more than a quarter of a mile a day. So is that walking not helping them in any of the diseases that is causing them to die impromptu?
Well, you're touching a good point here. I mean, what for you to stay healthy, you have to exercise and also you have to eat healthy too. If you look at the choice of food we eat in Ghana, Ghana right now, back then when we were growing up, we used to have a lot of people who make their own farm. You have your own in Kuma, tomatoes, so the foods were very, very, very fresh. So that's one of the things. And you see, it's very, very important that every day, at least minimum when you're supposed to eat 3 fruits a day. I don't know, in Ghana, the average person may not be able to have different types of food. Maybe at one food, yes, mango season, but we'll be able to make the mango. But whenever mango season is not there now, how do you eat the apples? How do you, eat, the banana? If you look at it now, all Ghana know have access to all of this. But the average person, you not necessarily have all the fruits that you basically may need. So when we talk about lifestyle now, it's all about also, how you're eating the food you're putting into your body. Because at the end of the day, we talked about the whole idea is that your body is like your temple. The more you can keep it, holy, the more you can keep it clean, the more you can put good into it, the more you can get out of it. I'll tell you a good story. When I was growing up, in New York City, for example, we had an adopted grandmother who, when she was young, this lady will bike, 25 miles every morning because she had to go sell bread in her native country of Belize before she actually goes to work. So she said for almost 15-ish years, every morning, she was riding a bicycle. She had to do that in order to basically, get food to basically feed her family. God, being so good, she was able to come to the US. The lady lived all the way up to into her 80s. Later on, she actually died, but she was telling us she was sharp. I mean, this was a lady that was like 70 something. When not doing a sharp to say. Why? Because say what? She had put in the time. She had those exercise. She has had all those building blocks. I think it's when it comes to living longer now, it's also your environment, is what you can get, the food, and eating healthy food is so important. And in Ghana, I think it's that, not everyone will have access to that at this point.
Thank you very much. Before, I ask you to do the summary, I have one last question to ask. The question is probably related to some of us who are here. Sometimes we go to do exercise, strenuous exercise, maybe jump and run, but at the end of the exercise, we eat some food, which is maybe take some cocoa with the tuba and other things after the exercise. Yes. What advice can you give to such people?
Well, what I would say is, when you're going to exercise, it's good that the first thing is it's good to exercise, right? But when it comes to eating now, it's very, very important. So you basically do what they call the calorie count. It's very, very important because at the end of the day, you have to make sure, say, whatever you eat, that your calories balance out. For example, for a typical man in America, say, it's recommended to say your calorie count, you should have about 2,500 calories a day. For a man, so it should be 2,000 calories a day. Indeed, if whatever you're eating, if you're having 2,005 calories now, whatever you're doing through the day, you have to make sure that you're basically taking less or equal amount that you basically ate to basically maintain your weight. So to answer the question, portion size is important in America. America is the land of plenty. You may have more than you may actually want. It's very, very important, say, if you can eat a little bit of everything, a little bit of proteins, a little bit of carbohydrate, a little bit of fat. If you can do that now, you can actually prolong your life. And that is the most difficult thing to do in America, is portion size. aduane no dɔɔso nti as a result when you are stressed now, people eat more. When you exercise now, you may want to eat more, which is normal. But this is where temperance comes in. If you can remember to be temperate in everything you eat now. A good example, one time I was going on an interview and I made a question and I'm reading Komo. The guy I know was eating a bagel. He cut the bagel in half. He only ate half. And I was asking myself, why is he eating half of a bagel? But basically, he's eating half the calories. I think it's a portion size is important, self-control. If you can now, try to do a log of what you're eating in a day. It will surprise you. If you don't know how much calories it is now. If you go online now, they do have all these basically websites that you can try to have you can try to build up a calorie log and see, at least you can do it for just 3 days and see, say, what you basically eat, and how much exercise you're doing. Is there any difference? And I think it's that when you're more conscious of it now, another example also say, maybe I know juice to cry. Look at a bottle and see what calories you're actually ingesting. We just eat it, but without even looking at the calories. Say, so we may not, have kind of what you may not know exactly how much they're basically taking. But one of the things you can do is that every day check yourself on the scale and see your weight. I think it's that if we can do that, that's why it can help us.
Thank you, Dr. Amoh-Mensah. Can you please give us the summary of what you did, and then at the end of it, I will go into
Okay. So in summary, exercise, is basically, the time you put in for yourself is a way to basically prolong your life. Exercise is a way of life for all of us. The sooner you start exercising, the better you're going to see the benefits. If you start exercising and you see immediate changes, one, it helps you to sleep. It helps you to fall asleep better. It helps you to also enjoy what we call deep sleep. Some people go to sleep and they cannot stay sleeping. They just can't sleep. But those that actually put in the time to basically at least put in 150 minutes, in a week, one, they are able to decrease the anxiety because your body it will release this hormone called endorphins. These endorphins actually makes you to feel good. So if you look at people that exercises on a regular basis, they can't stop exercising because the body will release natural endorphins, which actually help you to feel good. Also, when we talk about, diseases reduction in the world, those that exercise, you see less incidence of diseases such as bladder cancer, colon cancer, and also, endometrial cancer, esophageal cancer, kidney cancer, and also lung cancer. Also, exercise is one of the best ways to build up your immune system. So right now, as we're going through the pandemic, making sure that you're exercising, you're building up your immune system to help you to stay stronger, to fight off every disease that you may encounter. Exercise also decreases blood pressure. So those that basically exercises, over time, if they do it on a regular basis, their blood pressure will improve when they go to see their doctor within the next month or 3 months. Also, exercise has been shown to have a good cognitive effect on people's executive function. Or more exercise, they're able to make good decisions. They're able to do better on performance tests. They're able to think, to make to the point to say they can have a better quality of life. In the end, life is about having a quality amount of life and the quantity also. You want your life to be long, or you want to make sure you have a quality amount of life. So if you can exercise every single day or 5 days a week, 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes for 5 days, for you to get that 150, minutes, in a week now, you will see a lot of changes. You'll be able to feel better. A lot of us want to be happy, and sometimes, I notice that, the best way to start or the best way to be happy is to basically do something about your condition. And yet will be able to bring you happiness. Happiness is something that you basically have to start. So taking the time to study, taking the time to understand your body, taking the time to listen to what your body is telling you, and most importantly, putting in the effort, going outside, doing aerobic exercise, where you basically see your heart beating, making sure that you're doing muscle strength, because by you building up your muscles, you decrease your chance of getting osteoporosis and hip fractures. At the end of the day, it is your life. If you want to live longer, exercise. If you don't want to live longer and you want to die sooner, don't exercise. The choice is yours. All right, I'll end here.
Thank you. I don't want to repeat. The doctor came in and said, what treat you up from a boy, you do what be brave, who by a been blood pressure, been kidney disease, been cancer, and I feel crowns, and my wood to me a dream. And my way sharp, I will Kitahudi. I've so a bow, Emma, would to me, the bishop was sending a bit mediano and tentem, he said. Why do you know why you exercise sama why do you a big kakra now the air music kakra also yes as a community so and what promotes no unkasa no emubun basabasa this we exercise na why you honam dua no na muscles no na ya de na so no mpenu mu yi nti to me bia so hwe ase so kura na hwe ase a unamu entimi emu wo ho na anigi sem say so we exercise so utimi da pa kese now we no enya de ese kokko no meduru no wada o se utimi exercise na exercise no ne o ka kosi nyina say so utimi ye da ku bia 30 minutes or another 5 days na wona otwibia mu a be ma wa hoden funku bia ubetimi atena se no onyina che doctor magina tiefo nyina na yada wase pa yi ya hu se exercise hu nya yi that's no yen yabu no abomfia da bia no yadwene ye se ye ni bagi a gise ya no aduane bi enam gusu bebre na de wo bi agusu na edi na ebinim kwa da so mo no nsa ka ho na mo mani die sa ni je ni firi ni je no wa mate asemi se sa ni je ni firi wa ankasa se wa ankasa utie o se de we de no ekasa kire wo na se ebebo amani age a uhu se mo ani nyi so a ubehu. I want to thank Dr. Kofi Amoh-Mensah for such a beautiful message that he has given to us. And I'm sure that my people will listen to it. Na adebia ndike say wonya hypertension na yes sasa o ka kire say eno so etimi kofom pa ma e dey drone ko betime ja no so yes sasa ndi mama yemfa exercise nya adwuma kase ya we abrabom na da kubia ya ntimi kura no 30 minutes konante 30 minutes da bia we on 5 days na otwini mu no otimi twa 5 days na the next week we twa 5 days we are transfer person be mi na person mi nsa na akọ we di enimu da bia betima ye nu fi mi na blood pressure ni na ko nti no yada doctor wasipa thank you and I would say on behalf of my studio manager, we thank you for this good presentation. Now, at your point, so some more sending up as a bushaya. So the Debia canon, how to well protect it, Debia nearly a bassy, question, Memenda, and you may be. Now, your phone numbers are betting me a friend, Assembly, at Bray, me to you, 240-280-2633. And yes, I'm so a bit my taxi 510-931-0946. I already said, and for some ya back catcher on the chum. Now, Koshe Yadi, Nasa, we are just so busy a question beer. Oh, ya be a fine. Sir, I did be a bad bishop from the I already said, Doctor, someone na ya ready soon be you on. And internet, sir, won't hear ye, Nasa, won't country will be a Momodia country will be. Won't show a betting, was a Momodia country will be. Open said, you be trapped to a prize, we catch you will be no for at you. So the way you are conveyed dinner, 18 year chance in the action. Yada mungina ase se mungina betie afi ye de dwuma de ne ba ye me Moakoa and the Sufuku Agyeman, and a Dr. Kofi Amoh-Mensah, and a day, and a Jimmy Bremo. Yeah, the Yamiasu Yamam, you know, bye.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Rebecca Secretary.
All right, Doc. Rebecca Secretary.
Bye.
All right.
Studio manager in Pacho, you're doing a baby into the city for time or additional time. I demand. I make sure I'm going to answer. Bye bye.
Right. Bye-bye.